Perfection is a skill. Proper prior planning prevents piss poor performance, practically promoting peace, practically promoting perfection. It's a practice. That becomes a skill. You build confidence through will to own the character of whatever it is in whatever way that you wish to see it perfected. Whether it happens fast or slow, it doesn't matter. You work towards it at your own pace because that's what you love, that's what you know. That is of genius. It's a good book, you should read it sometime. It helps describe some of the concepts and where it comes from my own boarding point of view. It's fine. I wasn't able to do that. There'd be no point to this either. And then I leave it for someone else to do. But since I'm doing it, let me do that too. Thanks. What it means to me is if you're getting there and it takes time, focus on you alone. Don't let things out here define you in your own way of it. Whatever perfection is to you, however you conceptualize this idea of a process that is, because it is, outside of all of our ideas of what it is, how it is, when it is, for whom it is, by whom it is. It just is perfect. I know. That is true. Then back to you, because there's you, and then there's me, which is talking about the same thing, relative to a position that is not relative at all. It didn't need you, but here you are. So it needs you, because you're part of perfection, to remember that it's a practice, that's a skill. It takes time. No. I'm learning to do things as well. Temperament is one of those things. That's a skill I have to relearn sometimes. That's why we call it a practice. And that does take time, especially if you've developed a pattern that is hard to crawl out of. That would be in contrast to what I have mentioned in some way of the mind. No matter how you found it, it usually comes from trauma. Trauma is something you have to process well. You need words for this. That's why I read. It's good. Just don't define yourself by those definitions. It's okay to understand how we compartmentalize things. But you have to break that down. There's still one root. It's called trauma. And it all ideologically affects you into some sort of spectrum of easement, which is related to comfort, which is what you need. So that is a practice. That takes time. I'm 36 years old. You're not gonna get it in a whip. Or in a whipping. And we'll just call that ice cream to save us some space. Make it good for us today. Please. Because we may. So it's your choice to do that. And what I mean is, it took me a lot of time to do that too. So every video I've ever made, aside from this one, I still give credit to. Not perfectly, but that's what I mean. Proper prior planning prevents piss poor performance, practically promoting peace. Practically promoting perfection, which is what you get when you develop the skills, plural, with life. To remember not everybody has the ability to see it at that level because of the spectrum of variables that have, like Swiss cheese, just snapshots of certain sections of life and the way that they understand it. It's one thing to be unintelligible. It's another thing to be blind. Then it's another thing entirely. to be completely desensitized by all of that. If you are, it's a little scary, because we should care, in as much as we may. This is me caring today. That doesn't mean I want it to tear me down, but I at least notice I'm not the only one around with these difficulties, so our level of easement's gonna come from something that is intelligible enough to understand that and say, hey, that's what compassion is. It lives in your heart. So, like a snapshot, we don't have all the pieces of the old stories to give us conclusions in ways that a lot of us grew up with. I think we all understand what indoctrination means. It's an idea persona had to give you motive to manifest destiny. It's something else entirely. So when I say Swiss cheese, it's because you can't take snapshots of certain things to paint a picture. It does motivate people. You get behind it. So that's the truth. Well, it's not. You need the full motion. You need every position. And then you need the truth, which is not something you take a picture of. So that's the solution, anecdote for the thought. That's a position for those words to ease the heart back into what it is. To rest the story, kids, with your soul. Divine. It's not divided. You're unified. To sit with a thought means you are. If you were not unified, you would not be speaking with me now. To be a unit, to be a piece, to be integral. Well, as a unit of life, it's one. Divide that as a unit of measure, that's two. Divide that as a unit of space, that's three. Then you divide that as a unit of time. There's experience with you and me. Then, through the experience, the perfection is made known. Not because of an opinion of what it means to be comfortable with your home, but because of how the home came to be, able to make its way through, to create its own comfort like we do, to give words that create peace. That is what we need. So, what I said earlier about the words is sometimes they create boxes. You don't need them as a permanent resting place for your thoughts. Otherwise, you get lost in that indoctrination. I am saying that. Indoctrination that serves nothing of value now. I've explained this in my other videos. You should give them a try. Do not be emotional with me. Just think about it. Purely observational. If it creates an emotion with you, there's a reason for that. Practice not being emotional. This is my truth. It will not change. That's the difference between me and you, is I know me. I don't know you. That's okay, because I'm going to give you me. And that's it. Which means I didn't have to do anything except express myself, like I just did. That's all you needed. You don't need anything else. That and the easement that comes with me learning to control my own emotions now. Because I do get upset about a lot of things in my family. Personal family. But still very close in relationship to something I just made peace with. It's difficult to make peace with something that doesn't want peace because it believes there's no such thing. That we live in a world that will never have that dream yet. that would only deny the one that came to tell you that's a lie, because I know that too. And the same way they got it, I've got it with you. That is my fire. He lives in my heart. So Jesus is a picture of something, of a story. Okay, and where does it live? In a place, in my memories, where it's stored. That is the chariot, so my body is the chariot for a cross. But that wasn't the only symbol there. There were many, many others. Not to be unified. But your unity, however, is the experience. So in that way you are, because you already were. That's the best part. Now what you do with this is even better, because you get to create this next step. The journey doesn't have to be painful. You get to decide why it is. The journey doesn't have to end. You get to know why it does. Once you know those things, you get a better understanding of it. Because there is truth where there are lies. That was written in the book as well. And the multitude of words is missing this moment, because these are my words, and it's written in my blood because they're my memories that I create. The engram of my soul is where I am now. So this is mine to hold, not yours. And that is the unit that I have owned, me, myself. I will not be you. To unify that, I could not. To unify anything outside of that, I could not. I only mean to say that the experience is unified. I am unified to be integral to myself as a unit. That is the expression I share with you as an idea to give easement where there wasn't any, if you needed it that way. That will help. If you needed another way, perhaps we could discuss that another way as well. I'm certain there are as many ways to describe what I'm saying as there are people that have ever lived, or beings that could have ever had eyes or ears or senses to be, or beings that are much larger than you didn't realize. Or you see the wind, the water, the earth, the firmament, that everything has consciousness. That is our reality. That is the experiences. It's self giving birth to a show. The only ones acting here are the ones who know. But if you know, that's not an act at all. You get to choose, like I said. The easement is your ability to choose your story now, not the snapshot, but your own personal walk with your soul. We're not going to take credit for anything else. That's all you got. That's what you know. You. That's you.